Thank you guys so much for having us today. My name is Angie Young. I am the Marketing Media Manager for the West Region. Also joining us is Josh Culver. He's the Executive Director of Integrated Marketing. And so today we're going to take you through the 2023 Creative and Media Strategy.
Yeah.
So for our agenda today, first we're going to cover the marketing fund and how that works for brokers and agents. Second, we're going to review the new creative for 2023. And then third, we'll go through a high-level view of the 2023 media plan. And then finally, we'll walk through some of the marketing tools available for all brokers and agents.
Yep. So we'll go through marketing fund a little bit. If you guys have questions too, feel free to drop them in the chat. We should be able to answer all of them as we're going through this, but in case there are some questions that come up that we don't get to, we should have a little time for that, but feel free to send along questions. But as Angie said, right, we're going to go through some of the things that we've planned through the year. So to start with the marketing fund objectives, right, there's three main ones that are really our North Star. As we're looking at planning media, as we're looking at our goals, right, to increase awareness and maintain the number one name in real estate, attract buyers and sellers to connect with you all and all the good work that you do, and generate leads and drive traffic to remax.com as a first touch point. So a lot of those KPIs are around right impressions. We do a brand lift study to make sure we're maintaining that number one name, and then also we're always measuring what we're doing on the lead side, what we can optimize, what we can do more efficiently. So to start with creative here, so the planning that goes into creative is actually really robust. We're always about a year ahead. I don't know how, but somehow we're already talking about 2024 creative and what we're going to be doing. But some of the factors that really drive it, right, are some of the ones listed here. So like the overall macro economy, what people are feeling, what we're seeing in the industry as well. Other media channels, new activations that we can possibly do and what we might need new creative for. Obviously, we always keep an eye on competitors, what other competitors, not to, copy what they're doing necessarily, but just get an understanding of where they may be. We also do a mixed media modeling, which is interpreting and understanding where we can shift our dollars to be more efficient across all of the different media that we're spending. Audience behavior is a big one as well. We have the entire remax.com site pixelated and how different users are coming in and engaging with our content, and then testing creative. Just as I was talking earlier, we do a lot of creative testing. So for example, for like 2024, we will start concepting, start getting ideas, and then what we'll start doing in the summer is we'll actually do a lot of testing. We've done that with this creative for 2023 as well, and we got some of the best reviews in terms of some of those sample sizes and audiences for feedback that we've ever done for our creative. So we're really excited. In case it's been out there for a couple months now, if you haven't seen it yet, feel free to definitely go to YouTube. You can check it out. We have it activating across a lot of different channels. But as I said earlier, we do test even before we start putting our dollars in the actual media activation. We're always trying to do research and always trying to get a little better and continue to push ourselves. You all work so hard, and we always want to make sure that we're being good stewards of the ad fund and the dollars that you put in. So we want to make sure we're getting the best out of it. And so that's, as I said earlier, reviewing some of the concepts and scripts. And as I said, the 2023 videos that are currently in market are some of the highest performing videos to date. So we do it for consumers in general, and then also compare it to the actual category. And they outperformed both general consumer creative as well as industry real estate. So we're really excited about it. It's a combination of the head and the heart. Hopefully this is something you all are seeing in market now, right? Is with some of the macroeconomic things that are happening, and is this the right time to sell? Is this the right time to try and buy a new place? I think it's Nick Bailey says it really well, better than I ever would, right? Is you're never ever going to time the market right? Mortgage rates are going to go up, they're going to go down. Timing isn't necessarily about timing the market. It's more about the right timing for that individual person, right? Whether that's growing a family, maybe that's a divorce or something, or maybe you need to move closer to in-laws. It's more about personal timing than actual timing the market, right? So that's why it's still an emotional decision, but it's a combination of that head and heart, right? Where it's still an emotional decision. It's something that people feel in terms of that buying and selling journey. But what we have is the experts like yourselves to think through the process, give them that good direction, and help be an expert throughout it, right? It's not buying a pair of shoes where they consider buying it for about 3 minutes before they actually, click buy on a website. It's a very complex journey. So bring that expertise that you all have. While it can be emotional for them, it's a real combination. That's what we've tried to get in the creative as well. So as we start to go through where we activate our media, what we want to be able to do is be really nimble. Like I was saying earlier, right? We always want to make sure we're being good stewards of the ad fund and being nimble with our creative buy. So that takes like one concept and seeing where we can fit in the media based on user habits, right? Some of you are probably looking at your phones right now as well, right? As you're listening to a Zoom meeting. So we want to make sure that we're capturing users wherever they are, whether they're on a mobile device, whether that's on the television screen and traditional cable and over the top, or it's through desktop as well. So what we do is once we have the concept, we want to make sure that we have different file formats, different inventory to be able to mix and match across that user journey because it is so long, and we want to make sure that we're constantly reminding them of what we can do, the expertise that you all have. So this is an example of one of the creative ones that we have done. Maybe you all have seen it as well. I think my favorite that's currently in market right now is a teacher that has some pretty sweet dance moves, if you haven't seen it. But we have a couple of those that we plan on activating throughout the year that are just social. They're quick hits, but they fit really well to the format. It's playful, it's fun, but it also has a little bit of that expertise, and it's pretty fun if you haven't seen those. And then we obviously have non-video. We'll talk a little bit about tools again at the end, but these are all assets that we have on the marketing portal that you can also use. But it's all the places that we want to make sure that we're being, right? In print, make sure that we're active on outdoor and some of the billboards that you all see. Obviously, TV is a big one. And so these are some of the examples that we have in market that hopefully you have seen. In case you haven't, these are what they look like. The one in the middle there is an example of the collection as well. So you have the Remax collection. But we really wanted to lean into some of the great awards and some of the great things that you all have been able to accomplish and we can leverage as a brand, right? So the most trusted agents is definitely one that we've tried to get out there more. That was a BrandSpark survey that we've done. The Remax agents have won, I think, in 2021 and now in 2022. That's a huge feather in our cap that we want to make sure that we're reminding the consumers of how trusted and the expertise that you all have. And then this is how it translates to social, right? So you saw the outdoor and kind of what that looks like, and then making sure that there's a through thread. So all the branding looks similar, and no matter where they see us, it's similar imagery. It's again similar messaging and highlighting some of that expertise. So you saw the example of what it looks like outdoor. That's the example of social, and then you're right. And then the next one here is what it would look like for display. So we use some of the regional housing, obviously connecting with an agent as well and making sure we have that call to action. So we've had this regionalized. I know we talked a little bit earlier about audience and making sure it fits the audience. We try to use some of the home and architecture that's similar to the geographical areas, knowing it won't always be one-to-one, right? We can't always have a perfect mountain home for like Colorado and Utah, but try to have it so it syncs up pretty well for the region. And then just a couple more displays in terms of different sizes, right? So no matter what inventory we have or we have available on the actual like website, whether that's mobile, whether that's whether that's mobile or display, we're able to fit our creative into it with some of that similar messaging, right? Some of the today's market, some of the experience that you all have. So those are some of the examples of what they look like, and I'm going to turn it over to Angie here to talk through some more media.
Yes. So moving into the 2023 media recommendation, one of our big decision factors was to see where consumers are spending most of their time. So now people are managing to squeeze over 32 hours of activity in a 24-hour day, and that's all driven by media multitasking. So again, like Josh was saying, we're all guilty of it. Some of us are really good at it. And 2/3 of Americans now 18 plus admit to doing other activities while they're watching TV. So they're scrolling on their phone, they're checking Instagram, or they're even watching two programs, one on the laptop, one, that's just kind of the way of the world right now. So the overall takeaway from this is that most consumers are spending more time with tech and media than ever before. So what does that mean for RE/MAX? That means we just needed to create a multimedia holistic strategy using both national and local media tactics in order to ensure we're reaching those consumers at the right place at the right time. And then over our 2023 multi-channel media strategy also includes more digital than ever. You can see it on this visual here. Time continues to increase with digital, which again cements that fact that we can reach more consumers on digital with their computers, their handheld devices, etc. The average person is now on their device 8 hours and 23 minutes per day. And so with digital, the great thing about it is that we can reach who we want to reach, and we can convert them to an action. We can optimize to find more consumers like them. So we're becoming more efficient and more effective with those marketing fund dollars. Again, just being good stewards of those funds.
Yeah, just to tack onto that, I mean, that help, just as Angie was saying, right, a little bit more digital. That's something that we can also track, right? How they're creative that they're engaging with, how they're coming to the site, what landing pages they're coming with. That's always easier to track than something that maybe outdoor on a bus stop or things like that. And then also it gives us a little bit more liquidity when we're doing it on the digital side, because we're not locked into long-term outdoor buys. I know, everyone loves to see the billboard. I know I love seeing those billboards. But sometimes when we're doing it on the digital side, we can mix and match. If something's not working really well, we can sub out creative. We can, optimize to different audiences, which help us just be more flexible with and moving dollars to what's working.
So now we know where our consumers are spending time. We also think it's important to look at where our competitors are spending the dollars. So on the screen here, you'll see a summary of 2022 and the top competitors and their media mix. And so we want to make sure that we have a diverse media mix, whereas some of these on here are only investing in maybe one or two channels. And this is just another way that RE/MAX is, again, following that consumer journey and making sure that we are in the right place in the right time and spending those dollars in the right place. And then diving into the brand funnel, obviously everyone's seen this, but this helps us lay out that strategy. So on the left-hand side, we're using, you can see the channels that we're using and the KPIs that we're using to determine success. So starting at the top with awareness, the channels that we're using to achieve this are video, outdoor, paid social, streaming audio, and gaming. And that's about 69% of our overall budget is for that awareness. And then consideration, again, that's reminding the public of the overall agent value. And so we're utilizing that targeted display advertising with 4% of the budget. And then moving to conversion, which is to drive those leads and web engagements, we're using paid search, paid social, as well as display with 26% of the budget. And then at the very bottom here, obviously loyalty, this is where brokers and agents can come in on that localized level. to again strengthen those consumer relationships. And we have a lot of tools in the marketing portal that hopefully can make this as seamless as possible. And then we are optimizing our 2023 media mix based on what we learned in 2022. So the pie chart on the left is how we allocated the budget from 2022 versus what's planned for 2023. So we're slightly increasing social because of its strong performance that we had in 2022. We're also diverting dollars from traditional TV into a video everywhere strategy. So we're, following those consumer video habits that are more streaming as opposed to your typical cable buys. And then lastly, we've identified three new media channels to add into our mix this year, which is gaming, podcast, and Spotify, as well as TikTok. And so we'll dive into those a little bit further here. So we are using it's called the Media Innovation Framework, and this helps us continually innovate our media strategy. So if we're not continuing to look back and look at what is happening in the media landscape, we can fall out of the loop. And so by doing this, what this framework allows us to do is allocate a certain amount of dollars to experimental tactics that we haven't used before. So that's 5% of our budget. And then next we have 10% into incremental tactics, which are things that we tested last year and found success with. And then 85%, so the lion's share of that budget, is allocated to the media that's proven tactics that we do year over year. So starting off with those experimental tactics, again, that 5% of the budget. The first thing that we're trying this year is gaming. So we're integrating Remax advertising within mobile games. And so as you're playing those games, you'll see our signage in the baseball field or basketball, things like that. And it's highly, highly targeted. So we're only serving towards those prospective home buying audiences. And in addition, we've identified streaming audio as another media that consumers are starting to use more and more. So we partnered with Spotify. So you'll have our recorded ad as well as a banner ad that will appear on either somebody's phone or desktop. And then we also are trying host-read ads within some premium podcasts. So we have partnered with Office Ladies and Freakonomics. So that's another new thing that we're trying. And then lastly, TikTok has grown to now be the top social media platform with an average usage time of 45 minutes plus now. So all tactics are, again, we're launching those and then constantly looking at ways to optimize. And then if we see success in some of these, you'll probably see these on the plan for next year. And then moving into that incremental, so 10% of the funds, we are including Discovery Plus, which is Discovery Plus and Simul Media are both video platforms, streaming video platforms that allow us to reach audiences wherever they're watching. So it's streaming shows like cooking, A&E, HGTV, all of those things that people are now watching on Hulu, on Sling, on Amazon Fire, all of those different streaming tools. And then Google Performance Max is a search approach that basically allows us to launch a single search campaign within Google that then goes to all of the different Google platforms like Gmail, Maps, and all of that. And so all of the data is then in one place, and we're able to optimize based on that. And then lastly, that the majority of those funds are going into video, which does include a cable TV buy, digital video, as well as YouTube. We also have a healthy paid social, display, and search campaigns. Again, looking into video, we're going to continue to monitor how those consumers most people are cutting the cord, or, all of those different things, and we're going to optimize based on that, make sure we're in the right place at the right time. And then, of course, we have outdoor, which is always a key factor for that awareness bucket on the brand funnel. And so every single one of these, we're just continuing to monitor and looking at data from last year, moving into this year, making sure we're prioritizing and creating the best mix possible.
Yeah, these are like the tried and true that we know works. So how do we get more efficient in each channel?
Yep. So outdoor, just to speak a little bit more about that, the way we plan and buy outdoor is by first, we map out an entire DMA, then we layer on all of the different RE/MAX offices within that DMA, followed by the audience targeting, which is people who plan to purchase a home within the next 12 months. And so you'll see the darker red areas are a higher concentration of that audience. And then from there, each board is vetted. So we're targeting high impression count, also proximity to offices. We're trying to, provide the best coverage for an entire DMA, not simply, the highest ranking or the metro area. So now that we've talked through all of the tactics, I think it's important to talk about the question that we get a lot from brokers, which is, why am I not seeing our ads? The short answer is that technology is allowing us to target better than ever before. So in the case of a RE/MAX audience, if you're saying no to the questions on the screen here, you may not see our ads. And that's actually a positive thing because we're not wasting dollars on somebody who may not be in market to buy or sell a home. So are you exhibiting those life changes like searching for a retirement community or maybe a wedding anniversary or a wedding registry, all of those things? Do you have real estate? Are you using those real estate apps often, et cetera, like that? So again, those are the great things about the digital because we're able to yield a very low waste of those dollars and we're being efficient and low cost. And then here's just a look of how the whole picture is working together. So this is the flow chart for the entire national campaign, which we have sort of an always on approach with a heavier scale during those busier home buying and selling months. So with this, we are generating 1.3 billion impressions, reaching nearly 89% of our target audience, which is adults 25 to 54. With a frequency of 14 times throughout the year. So again, we're doing our best to keep that RE/MAX top of mind throughout the year. And then as we do every year, we've provided a media snapshot that's specific to each market. So that highlights all of the local efforts as well as the outdoor advertising. There's an interactive map that you can zoom in and zoom out and all of that. You guys should have all of that. If not, definitely let me know. And then now Josh is going to walk us through the marketing tools.
Yeah, and just a reminder of some of the things that you all can use right now to go leverage some of this media, leverage some of the learnings that we have. RE/MAX Hustle, in case you haven't been there, remaxhustle.com is an awesome place to start. We always have our 2023 or whatever the year will be. We have that media up there. So if you use the Customize a Commercial, what you can do is actually choose the media that you like the most based on what we're doing nationally. And then at the end, it has an ed card. You can put your face, your contact information there, and you can do that as many different times as you want to. What's great about that is it's a really polished, really professional looking well-produced piece of video that then has your name and your contact information at the end. So if you're doing your own advertising campaigns or anything like that digitally, you can actually drop those on. If you're just looking to use them for like social channels or organic posts, you can do that as well. And you can download as many of those as you want. You can also do the editor, which is kind of a fun little tool to use. And make your own little commercial. You can drop stickers in, whatever you want to do. So that gives you a lot of freedom as well. And then obviously the marketing portal, I know Angie mentioned it a little bit earlier. I know I did as well. But everything that we do for media activation is on the marketing portal. And that even includes logos. It obviously has print materials if you're trying to do your own print materials. as well as like digital assets, any of that stuff that you can definitely pull down. And public relations stuff, if you, any awards, any of those things that team may win, you can use those as well. So always recommend going and checking out the portal. And then also Photify, it's not listed here. Photify is also another great tool that you can use. It's mobile friendly, right? Great for creating content on the go to then push out to your network.
And then just to speak to, obviously, the balloon program, we now can say we have the largest fleet in the world. So again, it's an iconic brand that everyone recognizes. We have a pilot within Utah that we work with on all of the different events there. Definitely feel free to reach out to them to get them for a specific office event or things like that. And then, in general, we are really excited about 2023 and the strategy that we've created. And again, because of your efforts, we're able to make some of the claims that you see on the screen here that we are using to our benefit. And we want to be able to continue to. So let's definitely partner together, and looking forward to a successful 2023. So with that, we hope this presentation was helpful and explaining kind of the what and the why and all of our creative and paid media efforts. And our emails are right here. Definitely, I don't know if we have time for questions, but we can.
I saw one asking about will it be shared. We're definitely happy to share the deck and share this out. But I don't know if there were others at all.
Actually, if no one has questions, I have a few.
Fire away, Daryl.
Hang on one second. Let me start at the beginning.
Daryl, if you're asking, I think you're muted.
I'm looking at the wrong screen here.
There
Sorry.
we go. No problem.
So anyway, last year we had, I believe it was last year, might have been the year before, we had some outdoor advertising in our local market. I know we're not one of the major metropolitan markets, but I think we're pretty cheap as well. Are you guys the ones that allocate the budget for the local areas, or do you need to put a bug in somebody's ear?
Nope, that's me.
Fantastic. Let's talk.
Okay.
And also, but yeah, you definitely schedule some time to follow up. But as Angie said too, there is that overlay of maps that we show where some of that stuff is purchased for outdoor already. But yeah, definitely.
Have you seen the link to the buy for this year? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've drilled down on that. You're kind of bringing our attention to this one, which is one good reason you're here. Is to help us focus on where we can capitalize on some of the things you're doing.
Trust me, you guys have so much going on, and everyone's busy and always responding to client. Totally fine. So I completely understand that sometimes it forgets all the things that we're doing. So happy to do a refresher.
Yeah. And I, like I say, I've got a list of questions. So any of you that are on the call, if you have anything, interrupt me. So all of the efforts that you're putting on the table, what's your drive? Where are you trying to send prospects? Are you trying to drive people to the website, or is it just brand awareness, or how is this helping our agents?
So hopefully it's a couple things. One, as we talked about KPIs at the top, right, of what are our North Stars that are really directing how we then ultimately slice and dice the buy are those main things, right? Making sure that we're maintaining number one brand awareness in real estate. But then the second is driving leads to Remax.com. And so that's stuff that I know we're always evaluating in terms of the number of leads, and then ultimately passing that off to you all directly to agents and directly to brokers. So hopefully you have been seeing emails come through. We have a couple of different tools that we use, like things like Megaphone, right, that are automatically promoting listings on your behalf. You don't even have to do anything. That comes out of part of the media buy. But then any of the other activations that's going through .com should be sending emails directly, whether whether no matter the CRM that you are using, you should be seeing some of those emails come through, whether they're interested in properties that you're listing. Hopefully it's wanting to connect with you directly through all the agents listed on the website, or reaching out to your office.
I think most of our agents had really good experience with some of the leads that came through the RE/MAX system.
Great.
I think we've had a little breakdown, maybe because we're not as active on the Bouge product, and we have high hopes for this transition into KV Core to see some of those leads come back, because they were usually really good quality leads, if I'm speaking for myself at least.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to try to, I know we don't have time to get into it on this call, Daryl, but dive into a little bit more of kind of where they were coming from, because we always want to hear that their quality leads, and if there's more that we can do to supply the network with quality leads, if there's ways for us to kind of reverse engineer, whether it's looking at channels or how they came through, we always love to have that info.